I want to welcome you all to Food Law for the spring of 2016. My name is Al Bushway, and I am the instructor for this particular class. I certainly have taught this class for over 15 years. It's a class that certainly I enjoy teaching. Hopefully you'll get a lot of useful information once you finish this class. Tell you a little bit about myself. As you can see from this slide, one of my passions happens to be fishing. And this slide shows a picture of a lake trout that I caught at Great Slave Lake in the Northwest Territories of Canada about 6 years ago. This fish weighed just slightly over 19 pounds, and we actually released this fish immediately after this picture was taken. It is by far the largest lake trout that certainly I have ever caught. My wife and I also like to take in sporting events of our grandchildren as well as school activities, and number 24 in blue is our granddaughter Olivia. Olivia likes to play field hockey, and this is a picture of her in a game that was played when she was in middle school at Dowdy in Bangor. She has since gone on and now plays for the JV team at Bangor High School. Another picture of Olivia that was taken this past fall is she had some kind of dress-up day at Bangor High School, and this is the outfit that she had for dress-up day. I'm not sure who this character happens to be, but it's somebody that she wanted to dress up in for that particular day. Our grandson Isaac, major sport certainly is baseball. He does play some basketball, but again, his passion is for baseball, and he does, his major position certainly is catching, although he has done a little bit of pitching. And this is a picture of Isaac catching at the State Little League Tournament in Waldoboro this past summer. He played for Bangor West, and Bangor West won the District 6 Little League Tournament for the first time in many, many years, and went on to the States. They didn't win the state tournament, but they certainly had, I think, a lot of fun playing. And again, this is Isaac ice fishing. He likes to ice fish as well as Olivia and my son. And this was taken this winter before last on Fields Pond in Orrington. And this is a crappie that he happened to catch. And again, once the picture was taken, the fish was released. We tend to release most of the fish we catch. We may keep one or two for eating purposes. Our main fun is to get outside in the wintertime and to actually catch some fish. And again, another picture of Isaac's catching. I believe this was a game they played against Mount Desert Island. This is a game that they actually won in the State Little League Tournament before they were eliminated with 2 losses. My wife and I also have 3 cats, and this happens to be Oscar. Oscar is our oldest cat. He's about 15 years old. Oscar was found in a dumpster as a very small kitten in Bangor and was taken to the VZ vet in VZ, and we adopted Oscar from the VZ vet. Oscar is now a diabetic, gets insulin twice a day, but other than that, he appears to be doing very, very well. This is our youngest cat. This is Zoe. Zoe came to us one cold November evening. We took her in and put out some advertisements, but nobody ever claimed her. Zoe's about 12 years old. She's the smallest cat of the 3. She only weighs slightly more than 8 pounds, but certainly she rules the roost. The other 2 male cats do basically what Zoe says. And this is our newest cat. This is Rascal, aka the Rat. He's only about 3 years old. A rat was found in a tree by the school in VZ, was taken to the VZ vets, and shortly before Rat came to the VZ vets, we'd had a black cat who was 19 years old that we had to have put down, and we were looking for another cat, and so we took in Rat. So, the main course objective for this class certainly is to provide a general overview of food laws and regulations, and to assist you as students in being able to find sources of information that pertain to food laws and regulations. Upon completion of this course, you should be able to do the following. You should be able to use the federal and state websites to locate information relating to food laws and regulations, and I think you're going to find as you go through the semester that certainly state and federal websites are not certainly the easiest to navigate, but I believe by the end of the semester you'll have a pretty good insight into how to find any information that you might be looking for. You should be able to have an understanding of the lawmaking process, certainly as it applies to food and food technology. You should be able to assist consumers in understanding and interpreting information on food labels. Those of you certainly in food science and human nutrition have already had much of this information, but as we begin to look at food labeling, we'll see that certainly there are changes that have occurred recently, and there are probably more changes down the line as the government begins to look at ways to refine food labels to provide you as a consumer with the information that you want in an easy, understandable form. You should be able to discuss the major food law legislation and its importance to current regulations. You should be able to discuss the role of regulatory agencies in enforcing current food laws. And we'll be dealing primarily with the Food and Drug Administration, of the FDA, as well as the USDA, but we'll also look at the role of the Federal Communications Commission, as well as looking at the Bureau of Tobacco, Firearms, Alcohol, and Explosives. You'll have some understanding, I believe, of the principles of risk-benefit, particularly as we look at food additives and how food additives are approved. And then you should have improved, certainly, written communication skills as certainly one of the aspects of this particular course, as it meets the ethics requirement, is for you to write 3 essays. My contact information appears on this slide. My office is in 204 Hitchner Hall. This happens to be a laboratory, and once you enter that lab, my office is on the very, very end of the lab on the left-hand side. I have given you my phone number at the university as well as a fax number, but certainly as I'm a professor emeritus and I'm not in here every day, the best way to contact me certainly is by email. And I have 2 email addresses, one on First Class and then a Gmail email address. And certainly if you need to set up an appointment, you have questions, just email me. I certainly check my email several times a day, and we'll get back to you very, very quickly. If we need to set up a time for a meeting, we can do that through email on a day and time that would be convenient for you. Since food law is certainly an entity that's constantly changing, there's really no textbook required for the class. There was a textbook, updated textbook for food law written approximately 3 years ago. But again, there's been a number of changes even since that particular book was published. You will be provided with a list of websites where information for each of the certainly lecture topics can be found. And what you're going to find is, as you look at the video and you look at the PowerPoint slides, that many of these websites are actually embedded in the PowerPoint slides. And they're hyperlinked, so you can go directly, by clicking them, go directly to the particular site. So you'll be going to the Food and Drug Administration, the U.S. Department of Ag, the Maine Department of Agriculture, Food, Rural Resources and Conservation, Institute of Food Technologists. That's just some examples of places where certainly material can be found. As you know, this is an asynchronous class, so there is no live lecture at specific times, and you will need a high-speed internet access for this particular class. There's some information here on how to access the class. We recommend certainly using Mozilla Firefox for your internet browser because it seems to work better for Blackboard than does Internet Explorer, and there's a website where you can freely download free Mozilla. Some of the files that I will be putting up on Blackboard will be Adobe PDF files, and if you don't have an Adobe Reader software, again, there's a website where you can go certainly to get that for free and download it. To reach the home page, many of you have already taken certainly online classes using Blackboard, but for any of you who have not, this particular slide provides you with information certainly on how you can access this course through Blackboard. And if you get down to the third point, usually you log in will be the same as your internet or Main Street information, for example, jane.doe, and the associated password. And once you do that, you'll see a login button. Click here will display all of the Blackboard courses for which you are registered. And for this course, you would click on FSN 436, Food Law Spring of 2016. And this will take you to a page that shows you any news for the course. And from there, you can certainly enter the made class webpage. And once you get in there, if you look on the left-hand side, there are several topics that you can get to find the information. There's one for the syllabus. There's another one for the PowerPoint slides and the videos. There's one for assignments, etc. If you need technical support, I have listed a web site or an email address where you can go to get that, as well as a phone number. The course requirements, there are 3 exams of 100 points each for this class, and I'll say a little more about these exams a little later on in this presentation. The homework assignments, there'll be one that needs to be completed each week, and those are worth 200 points. I believe there's 14 total. There are 3 ethics essays that you'll need to do to meet the ethics requirement for this class. Each one's worth 100 points. And I'll say a little bit more about those as we go on in this presentation. So the total points for the class is 800. And again, the grading, this slide provides you with the information that you would need to see to determine what your grade will be for the class based on the percentage of those total points. One thing I will say is if you keep up with the assignments and do a good job with those, do a good job on the exams as well as the essays, you should have no trouble getting a good grade for this class. The main thing is to keep up with the class. As we look at the lecture schedule for this coming spring and the things that we'll be covering, the first week you're going to have an introduction to the class where we'll have the syllabus, will be PowerPoints for the syllabus as well as a video, and then a video and PowerPoints for the history of food law. And the second week we're going to look at federal agencies and their responsibilities, and then we'll look at how a bill becomes a law. And then we're going to go on and look at the Federal Food, Drug, Cosmetic Act and the amendments that went into that, as well as standards of identity. We'll be looking at food additives. Then the week of the 15th of February will be Exam 1. Now, Exam 1 will not cover food labeling. That's the topic that you'll be doing for that particular week, but that will be covered in Exam 2. It'll be everything prior to food labeling. And we'll look at dietary supplements. There's some interesting things certainly going on in this area right now. We'll look at good manufacturing practices in HACCP. Then there are 2 weeks for class break when there's nothing that will be due. And we're going to go on to look at enforcement and the Food Safety Modernization Act. We'll spend some time, different points throughout the semester looking at the Food Safety Modernization Act as it becomes implemented. It's been looked at for I think about 2009. It's still not fully implemented, but I think once we get full implementation of the Food Safety Modernization Act, it'll be looked upon as probably one of the major food safety regulations put into place, certainly maybe on a par with the Federal Food, Drug, Cosmetic Act as well. And we'll have Exam 2, and then we'll cover imports and exports. We'll look at intellectual property rights. We'll be looking at patents, trademarks, etc., as well as advertising. Certainly a lot of things going on in the advertising area, particularly from the Federal Communications Commission. Much of this perhaps is more related to dietary supplements, although there's some related certainly to food as it relates to health claims that are being made. We'll look at briefly at state laws and regulations, and then the last 2 weeks actually are combined into certainly one set of PowerPoint slides as well as one video. We'll look at Codex Alimentarius, which is the international food regulation body, and you'll see how that is similar to what we talk about as we talk about U.S. laws and regulations. We'll look at religious food laws, which I find very, very interesting. We'll look at biotechnology and genetic engineering, another area where there continues to be a lot of controversy. We'll look very briefly, a few slides on food irradiation as well. And then the last week of class, we'll have Exam 3. Essay topics, as I said, there'll be 3. You'll be able to submit your essays through Blackboard, although you can do it through First Class if you like. I will certainly send announcements and actually put up the essay topic a week or so before they're due, so you'll have time to think about that. The essay should be double-spaced, and I'll say a little bit about the references in following slides. The essay should be 1 to 3 pages in length. The first essay, which is due Friday, February 12th, asks the question, is there a place for standards of identity in modern food law? And I would like to have you provide an in-depth explanation of your answer. One of the things that you might want to look at is there has been a recent report put out by the FDA as it relates to mayonnaise and an egg-containing mayonnaise, and the position that the FDA took on that, and then what the follow-up was. That might be an interesting thing to look at as you look at this particular essay. The second essay is due Friday, March 25th, and it asks you to assume you have were hired by a fruit juice company that wants to put a high in antioxidant banner on its new juice label. In other words, they want to make a health claim for their juice, and the juice has almost no vitamin C or vitamin E. And the question for you to respond to is, what would you advise the company to do, and then please justify your recommendations. For this particular essay, the thing that you need to do is what chemicals does the FDA recognize as antioxidants, and for a compound to be recognized as an antioxidant or a nutrient to be recognized as an antioxidant, what does it have to have? This will help you greatly in answering this particular essay. And the third essay will be submitted on Friday, April 29th, and the question is, should there be stricter food safety regulations on genetically modified foods? Should they be labeled? What ethical, social, and environmental issues would need to be addressed? And when you look at and write this essay, I'd like to have you to look at this from both sides. The regulatory issue, as well as what some scientists and certainly many consumers, what their concerns are relative to this particular question. Each essay should have a minimum of 3 references, and the references should be cited following the format in the Journal of Food Science. And I have provided examples on the next 2 slides so that you'll see how they should be cited, whether they're a journal article, whether it's a chapter in a book, on the next slide, whether it's a conference proceedings, etc., whether it's a patent, whether it's a website. So you will need to use proper citing of your references in your essays. Course policies, each week the assignment column on Blackboard will be used for posting the questions that you must answer for that week's lecture. And actually, I believe all the assignment questions have been posted already, so you can move ahead if you'd like. At minimum, you need to do the assignment that's assigned for that week. And these questions will need to be answered by Monday of the following week. And I certainly will submit announcements every week to what's due and when it's due. And you can submit the answers by Blackboard or First Class. And certainly these assignments have been developed to familiarize you as a student with federal and state websites. The exams will be posted on the day scheduled in the syllabus. I will post those on a Wednesday of that week, and they will not be due until Monday of the following week. I believe it's at 8 in the morning. And exams need to be submitted to me, and they will be returned to you either using Blackboard or First Class. And what you'll see in some of these questions, I ask for detailed answers. And since I give you that length of time to do these exams, and you can use any sources that you would like, when I say a detailed answer, I'm looking for a detailed answer, not 2 or 3 lines. And students missing an exam because of an illness or family emergencies, they will need to make up that exam within a week, and just need to contact me and we can set up a way for you to do that. These slides on academic integrity, including plagiarism. Certainly you've seen these in all the syllabuses that you get for any class that you've taken. I'd just like to have you read those over so that you're familiar with these. Particularly as you're going to be writing essays, you want to be familiar with what plagiarism is. And this particular slide provides you with some websites where you can go to help you prevent plagiarizing material for your essay. So proper citing is very, very important, certainly. Disability statement, certainly if you have a disability for which you may be requesting accommodations, you need to accommodate disability service. The phone number is listed, and you need to do that as early in the semester as possible so that we can set up those accommodations to meet what your needs will be. Certainly sexual discrimination is an extremely important issue and needs to be dealt with very, very quickly if it occurs. And these slides provide some information on sexual discrimination reporting. It provides you with a place to call if you have an issue, and that should be done very, very quickly. And certainly we don't want any of this going on, certainly at the university or any place in the workplace. Some more information and places that one can go, certainly. If there are some issues, certainly, with sexual discrimination, I would urge you to certainly read these and certainly take any action that would be required. And this certainly completes the video and the lecture on the introduction and the syllabus to food law.